Despite the call to action to reduce consumption and reverse greenhouse effects, the energy consumption attributed to computing is climbing.
An average company might have 1 to 2 servers. If you multiply that by 300 companies, that's 600 servers. Whereas what they can do with 600 servers, we can do in about 10 servers.
The factories of the Industrial Revolution got us into a big mess by burning coal and releasing carbon pollution into the atmosphere. Now, the factories of the Technology Revolution have the ability to make use of better energy choices like solar, wind, and thermal energy. Leading the way to sustainability, accountability, and profit is the Green IT and Cloud Computing Summit in Tysons, Virginia. Many leading experts gathered to discuss how they're going to lessen their impact on the environment.
We're proud to have the first and only 100% green zero emissions data center in the world, considering that somewhere between 2 and 3% of all pollution and carbon emissions are coming from data centers now. And they're expecting that to increase over the next 4 to 10 years. So you're looking at data centers producing as much carbon emissions as the airline industry, which is a huge amount.
Even today, people still feel comfortable having their data on a hard drive on their home computer as opposed to in the cloud. And between the two, the cloud is 1,000 times more secure than the hard drive for a number of reasons. Number one, the cloud provider is in the business of that. Their reputation and their business model is based on being able to keep data secure and instantly available 24 hours a day. Your computer, the hard drive is moving parts, right? It can crash. Computers crash all the time. In the cloud, you don't have to worry about that.
We can manage your email, we can manage your applications. You're not paying for the hardware. If you had to manage let's say an Outlook exchange situation with your personal email, that's a huge undertaking for any organization by themselves. That's a great place to start if you want to put it in a cloud. Just let somebody else manage your email because it becomes a task unto itself.
By virtue of using data centers, instead of a business having to have their own independent data center, now we're having companies share data center infrastructure and hardware and software. And so instead of having 200 different companies having their own data center and cooling costs and energy, et cetera, now they're able to share one data center in a multi-tenancy environment securely, which is saving a ton of energy and is making the environment a little bit greener.
And we all know being greener is good for everyone. Whether you're at work or at home, computers have become a vital part of our daily lives. But many of us have developed computer habits that are continually damaging our environment while costing us a lot of money. With me is Stephanie Dorsey, the director of the Green IT Economic Summit, to explain how this summit is giving insight to solutions. Welcome to the show. So can you tell me what is happening here at this summit?
Well, today we're at the Green IT Summit. We are looking at ways of making a more environmentally friendly computer and technology within the IT departments of large corporations and the federal government.
Why is it important for major companies and the government to develop greener IT habits?
It's important because we all know that there is not a finite resource, and we have to take care of the resources that we have. And in order to do that, we have to make a partnership. We all have to go into it together. If one side does it and the other side doesn't, then all we're really doing is negating the work that we've already done.
Plus, they actually are a huge part of why we have a lot of CO2 emissions, and I mean, it's a big footprint we're actually helping reduce in this office here.
Yes, it is. It is. The government has a very large footprint, especially in data centers, because they have a lot of information coming and going from a variety of locations.
Okay. Is this, do you think, a trend, or do you think this is something that's going to stick around because there is a financial gain and there is an environmental impact?
I believe it's going to be a long term, but it's going to take a while to find the correct solution. President Obama has made great strides in the new administration in promoting the idea of green IT and showing people it's not just about your car, it's not just about the light bulb that you put in your house, it's about the computer that you leave on all day but you're not using.
So what kind of companies are here today? I mean, what are the variety of people that you have here?
Most of the companies that are here today are in data centers, in hardware, in software. They're the ones building the computers. They're the ones making the programs that run the computers. And they're the ones that are making software that manages the energy infrastructure for large companies.
Why is this so important? Like, why do you have this summit? I mean, what is so important about this summit?
The summit is very important because there's a lot of companies that are working toward this, but it's usually very small departments within those companies. So you may have a large multi-million-dollar company, but maybe only 4 or 5 people are working on sustainability. When we have conferences like this, we're allowed to bring all of those people together and let them talk, let them formulate, think of new ideas, new plans, new ways to go. And it really spurs forward the momentum.
How long have you been doing these summits, and how many people do you have here now?
This is our 3rd year, and we have 250 people registered for the event.
So it seems to be growing.
It is, and the Green IT Council opened up the individual membership. We are now at 3,000 members, and we are expecting to be at 5,000 members by the end of the summit.
How do you feel about that, the fact that many people are starting to care?
It's wonderful. It's a great feeling to have so many people say this is important to us, because the more people it's important to, the more changes are going to happen.
Great. And why are you personally involved in this? I mean, what made you decide to get involved in the Green IT?
What made me decide to get involved in the Green IT was the fact that everybody talks about it. You hear a lot about green, I'm going green, we're going to be green, we're going to do this green, but nobody is saying, what does green mean? And the more that you use the word, the more you undervalue the word. So we need to start talking seriously. We need to sit down and say, this is what it means to be green. This is how you become green. This is what we believe green is. And put a value behind it. Until it has a value, companies aren't going to buy it.
What does it mean to be green in IT? You know, those two things never really fit together in my head. I was like, green and IT? I mean, what does that mean?
Well, green IT really is about energy consumption. It's also about recyclability. One of the great things that we can show you is this computer here, which is made by one of our sponsors. It's called a Vertio, and the reason it's green is because it is made of aluminum. So the entire thing is recyclable at the end of its lifespan. It's also green because it uses 30% less energy. So when you're using 30% less energy all day long on this device, you're saving a tremendous amount, not just of energy, but of money to your corporation.
It definitely helps you become more efficient.
Yes, it does, yes.
What can people do at home to actually help?
Well, one of the greatest things that people can do at home is to simply buy a power cord and plug things such as your cell phone charger, maybe a DVD player, your TV, electronics that you may turn off during the day and not use, but they continue to draw energy. Those electronics are called vampire electronics because they continuously suck electricity into them even though they're not using it.
And this is something everyone can do across the board.
Everyone can do it. Just buy a nice little power strip, plug your cell phone charger into it, and turn off that power strip when you're done.
Well, thank you very much for letting us be here and for all the information we got today.
Thank you for coming.
As we continue to address global environmental challenges, it's nice to know there are people developing innovative technologies and business solutions that are tying together the interests of financial savings with the needs of the environment. For more information about this summit, log on to greeniteconomicsummit.org.